All right, looks like we're jumping back on the Opel today. We just did some work on it here over the end of last week, and we got the inner fenders all cleaned up, and we got the undercoating off of them to kind of help reveal everything that needs fixed. So today I will be starting with this lower inner fender section here. As you can see, we've already redone the subframe support here because this is actually structural. That's part of the frame. That's done. You can see the two bolt locations there welded in. So this is done. This will be the flange that this spot welds to. So basically we're going to start with where it's bad and probably come up right underneath these spot welds and start with this and then work our way this way and repair this lower section down here. So kind of take you along with it and kind of show you my process of what I do to get this going, and we'll see what happens. All right, what I did is kind of decided where I wanted to make my cut and make my actual panel. So I made myself a little tape line and got myself up into the good metal on both the side and the top. So here's what I did. Made it exactly how I want it. So, you know, stuck the tape down to get a nice edge, and if you look, traced it in a Sharpie. So then I can actually pull this tape, and that way I'll be ready to cut it out. But first, I don't normally make templates, but I'll probably get some paper, or the construction style paper, and make myself a little template off of this, and then pull the tape and be ready to cut and start forming my new piece. All right, guys, got my little template paper made, and first off, I self-etched up inside here where we're not going to be able to get to once this is enclosed. So I got this flange I'll be welding to taped off while I prime that and paint it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this lower section off, which will allow me to wrap my piece down here without running into metal, since we got to replace this anyway. This actually tapers down to the new metal I will have, and then it has a flange right here that I'll spot weld. So first and foremost, I'm going to get that cut and then get my piece cut out, pull it out, paint the inside of there, and then I will be able to take this on my 18 gauge and go over to the metal roller in the other shop and start getting my my radius is correct, and then I'll probably stick it in the bead roller and get my little section right here that I need to match. So it'll probably be quite the process, but I'll take you along and update you when I get to the next step. Alright guys, we got the heater running so it's a little loud, but got my piece done. What I found out on the other side is, if you look, this bead runs continuous, and I thought that it just came down and stopped, but it actually comes down radiuses and runs about 4 inches out. So I found that out by looking over here on the other side, which isn't as rotted. So I was able to see that it runs out down to there. So basically just measured that, transferred it over to mine, ran it on the bead roller, did it by hand, and we got that piece we need. So what I'm doing now is going through and I'm going to tack it in place and push it in place as I go and work it and get it all tacked in the right spots. And then this bottom edge here, this will actually hang over, if you can tell. Let's see here, up front it actually hangs down quite a bit. So I actually trim that trace and trim this bottom edge. And then that'll do it. It should be able to finish weld it and spot weld along that bottom edge. So come back when I get this thing tacked in place. And there it it is. So you see my bead roll lines up, got a little bit of a gap, but we'll fill that in, smooth all those radiuses out to make it match. And then now what I'll do is go along here, and where you can see that little gap, I'll be pushing it in as I go and kind of pulling out to get what I need. So I'll basically finish weld across there, and then from this back side, don't know if we can see it, but I'll trace it and trim right along there where I need to, and then spot weld this lower section up against the flange. So we're getting there. Gonna get the welding helmet on and start tacking this thing in place. All right, guys, we got it all finished up. I didn't film here because this section, I had to section back in because when we replaced this piece underneath, it didn't line up as well. So I actually lined up real good all along here and then bubbled way out from the inner structure. So I just seamed it right here and then remade this new piece to wrap around. And now it connects with the other inner rocker here and is spot welded on with a nice flange. Rolls around. That's where I seamed it, like I just said, and then now it's all finished welded in here and got my bead all done. So now I'm ready to weld this seam up, smooth it out, and it'll be good to go. So now that whole inner piece is fixed and ready to be smoothed out. All right, it's loud, got the heater on, but I got this panel finished up. So I'll kind of show you the finished product. I'll show you what I finished off with basically the last section I did. So there, it's all done. I went through and did spot welds just like the factory, all through the bottom, and got everything smoothed out. So it's done. Got the bead roll kind of matched up. We'll make that nicer when we go to finish it. But this right here, I think I got enough good metal. I can just fill these in, and then I can replace from here over. So we're gonna be starting on this today. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm not sure when I'll end this video off. Either I might have that section in there or I might not, we'll see. All right, and I was able to fill this spot in I just showed you guys, so that way it saved all that, and I didn't have to cut and remake this whole section just due to 2 little holes. So the metal was strong enough, so I got those all fixed up and done. So now I'm ready to move in. I'm gonna draw me a line and then section all this stuff and make this piece through here. All right, here we are on this second panel portion that I just went over. Show you guys where I'm at now. So I got it all cut out. Self-etch primed the inside and then painted it with just some basic black for protection since this gets encapsulated. This stuff you see here is the layer behind the inner fender. As you can see, I had to drill out some spot welds. So there I got my basic shape cut out. And here are the bead rolls that I had mentioned obviously in the previous portion when we made this section to tie in with the original and save the original portion there. And then here is my new piece I just made. So this guy sits up in here like this. Let's see here. Just like that right there. So I got it all notched out. I'm getting my marks and stuff all made for my bead rolls, so I know kind of the somewhat of a path to go off of. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to keep finishing up my path for the bead roll, and hopefully it can resemble this and as well as what's left on the other side, which I can kind of show you. So basically what I'm recreating is this section right here. So hopefully it resembles this somewhat when I'm done. Okay, we got our piece made. As you saw in the time lapse right before this, I was on the bead roller. So I had marked all my locations, which I don't know if I filmed it or not. If I did, I'll insert a picture. And if I did, you already obviously saw it. But got the bead ran. So like I showed you on the other side, I was mimicking the other side, and I took measurements to try to get it as close as I could. Now when you bead roll stuff, sometimes it does kind of distort your piece a little bit. So if you look down that, you can see it's a little wavy there. I've hammered it a little bit to straighten it out. So when I set this thing in there, when I go to weld it, I will have to kind of slightly, if you notice this front end sticks up just a little bit, I'll have to just push it down like that when I weld it. So right now I'm gonna mark and drill some holes for my pocket welds / spot welds like the factory had it, and get some of this area cleaned up a little bit better for the weld, and we'll go ahead and put this bad boy in.
So as Ryan is working on this side, he's obviously shown everything that's been done up there. So what I'm working on the other side is basically everything that's missing here. So I did this previously on this side. I actually had to do the same thing on the opposite side. But there's another angled piece here, and then another piece that comes behind here that I'm doing. So you can see all this missing here. And I'll show you on my side what I'm working on right now. And this is that piece I was just saying is there that's missing on the other side. So you have the inner structure right here, and then you've got this angled piece that comes out and then also bends in, and haven't welded this piece in yet. But once this is all together, this piece will then spot weld back to that. So you can kind of see this as a complete unit. Then the fender will obviously come back over here and go past all this stuff. And I still have to do what Ryan has done on the other side, which is this whole piece here. And just wanted to give you guys a little update of what this is going to look like on the other side. And then obviously you've seen what this is going to look like on his side. So
alright guys, got the holes all punched, and I got it all set in place, spot welded the whole thing in. So now I am ready to go ahead and weld the entire outer seam. So then I'll go ahead and get this guy welded, and then we'll be ready to smooth the welds out, and this whole lower area will be done and ready for all the stuff that goes on the outer ends. Alrighty, we got her all finished up. So there it is, all welded in and smoothed out. And you can see the bead. A little harder to see with the grinder marks, but those won't be there for long. But got that all done. So now we're ready to move on to all this inner structure here that's rotted away. So that'll probably be maybe tomorrow's task. I'm not sure, but all right, we got this inner structure all cut out up here. And here was what was left over from that area. So that's trash. And this piece here, I just got it tacked in place. It is a remake of, if I can find it, this piece here. So once I get it in there, and I'll radius those welds out and make that corner just like it was on here. So we'll show you what it's like when I get done welding it. And then we'll be able to move on to some of the other stuff up front, which I've got this new piece made as well. I was able to mimic it from the other side, so that'll weld in there like that, and this will pinch weld to a piece that comes here, which I will show you later. Okay, we got this brace support all welded and smoothed out, just the portions we needed. So we got our holes made for the spot welds at the bottom, and then I got all my individual pieces made. I remade this out of one single piece. And I got the inner rocker structure made, which, well, once this ground is moved, it'll lay in here a little bit, just slightly behind where this outer rocker's at. And then this piece right here that's cooling that I had to make, I'll round these welds off, and that's what'll come and be this part here and then come flat. and then the inner structure will mate to it. So I'll show you guys that when I'm done welding it in. All right, we're on some more sheet metal repair on this section of the Opel. I can't remember exactly where I left off, but I'll kind of show you where I'm at. This structure area is all done. We made the inner rocker and the support piece here and the lower floor support piece there. So it's all done. The only thing I have left is this, and I already made my template. It goes in there. So about ready to make that, and that'll basically complete this whole structured area, and it'll be done, and then we'll be ready to move on to some pretty heavy stuff after that. And also, in case you're wondering, the gas hole here is a perfect storage for a 32-ounce sody. All right, we finished up the last support brace piece. So that ties this whole side together, and it is now done, and we're ready to move to the top side. But before we do that, that'll be probably the next Opel video you see, which will be doing the top portions of this. So here we are at the bottom. So everything is all completely brand new, and all this stuff is handmade. You can't buy any of it. So there's the piece I just made. So it ties that whole structure in. So that's done with the hole drilled as well and the outside shaped. And then obviously this stuff you saw prior. So this side's all finished up, and Graydon finished up just before I did and got his side all done as well. So his didn't go up as high as mine on this side. It was a little bit better over here for that portion anyway. So all his stuff is done as well. And then he already started on this portion, which like I said, you'll see more of that in the next video. So that's where we are. And then once those top portions are done, we'll be moving on to clipping the front end of this thing.